Okay. So let's go back. So this is the one that I created. So it is running. So we are going to create now a new web app service. So to deploy a dynamic app, it be it Laravel or Django or whatever app that you want to do, we create it using an app service. So just click on app services. Then there's this button. Let me enlarge it so you can see there's this button for create. So there's this create button. I believe everyone can see it. So you click on that create. So once you click on create, it will take you to a screen whereby you'll be providing the details, including the names, the resource groups, and all those. So the first thing, you provide the project detail. So in the project detail, you provide the subscription type. So I have only one subscription type that is running. This one's for Visual Studio Enterprise subscription. Then this you select the resource group. So if you want to learn more what they are for, you just over there, and it will tell you what that field is for. So the resource group is just it collect resources with the similar permission policies and life cycle. So you can create a new resource group through this link, or you can select from an existing resource groups. So in this case, I'm going to select from an existing resource group called VSTech. Then you go to the instance detail. So this was the project detail. So we move to the instance detail. We will provide the name of the instance. So one thing you have to make sure is that this name is unique. So for example, if you look at this my app, in the URL, it's just I can't enlarge URL. I really don't know if I can't enlarge URL. I can just enlarge the body. So in this URL, if you look at it, we are having sjf.azurewebsites.net, right? So this name sjf is what we provided as the name of the app. So this name has to be unique across the entire project, maybe in the entire world, because it will be used to create for you your unique URL that you'll be using to access your website. So that's where we provide the web name. So this web name will also contribute to the URL that we'll be getting. So for example, I'll go for SJF2. If I do FJF, you'll see it telling me that FJF is not available. So if I do maybe Jeff, that will, I'm very sure that will not be available as well. Oh, Jeff is available. That's nice. So we have Jeff. Then it will ask you if you want to publish a code, maybe a Docker container or a static web app. So in this case, we'll just select the code. We'll go with the default. Then select a runtime tag. So in this runtime tag is where we select the language that you use to write that particular web that you want to deploy. Are we together? Maybe I don't want to lose anyone, because once I move to the next step, like there's no way I'll reverse. So maybe if you can't hear me, maybe you could just say it so that we move together. Am I still audible? Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
So let's proceed. So you select the language that you use to develop. So there's Ruby. You can select Ruby if you use Ruby. You select Python, PHP, Node, Java, Go, ASP.NET, .NET frameworks as well. So in our case, we used Python. So I'll go for Python. Then the version of the Python that may be used. So we have Python 3.7, 3.8, 3.9, 3.10, and 11. So I'll select that Python 3.11. Then the operating system that you want. So do you want to create this app on a Linux machine or on a Windows machine? So you can do that selection based on the operating system that you want. So for me, I'll go for Linux. Then you select a region. Yeah. So in the region, you can just select where your app will be, like just the location. Let me say the location of maybe, don't know whether to say location of the virtual machine or something like that. So I'll select a region. So once I've selected that region, then I'll go to the pricing plans. So in the pricing plans is whereby you select like a subscription type or something whereby you are selecting premium, yeah, premium, Pro, yeah, basic, something like that, something of the sort. So, so we have got the pricing plans, and there's this link that you can use to learn more about the plans. So currently, I've selected this a free plan, but you can also add another one. So, for example, if you want to create another plan, just click on create, then you create that particular plan. So I'll go with this free tier, which is available on this region. Or maybe I can test another region and see which plants we have in those other regions. So you see, if I go to East US 2, so there are other plants that we are having here. So there's the free, whereby you'll not be charged anything. Yeah. This the basic one. So the basic one, you are given 1.75 GB of RAM and one CPU. Yeah. And in the premium V3, we are given 8 GB of RAM, two CPUs, another premium 16 GB RAM, 32 GB RAM. So you can select the pricing plan based on. So if, for example, you are doing a system and now you are going to production, and many people you think will be using the system, so you can probably select this one with the larger power, yeah. But for my case, this is a learning purpose, so I'll go for this free plan. So I had already created one plan in a region called East US. So that free plan is what I'm going to use. Yeah, so we'll use that one. So they also have the zone redundancy. So for free plans, you can't enable the zone redundancy, but for production, you can enable zone redundancy. Yeah. So it'll move next to deployment, or I can create now, then I deploy the app that I want to deploy later. So let me just review and create. So that one will skip the deployment, networking, monitoring, and tags part. So it will just go and create your app directly without you filling those. So it will pre-populate them with the default values. So if you did programming, you must have learned of this thing called instance. Not instance, but initialization. Yeah. So yeah, so you fill them with some default values. Is it? No, it's a constructor. Yeah, yeah, constructor, not initialization. Constructors and destructors. Yeah, so let's wait for it to deploy. So it is going to take some time to create this app. So this will create for us some virtual machine, a Linux-based virtual machine with some specs. Then in this virtual machine, we are going to push our code from GitHub to that machine, and then we're going to deploy. So the deployment is done. So we can go to the resource. So click go to resource, and the app is called Jeff, as I had given it that name. And you'll see the URL of the app on this left hand side. So let's wait for it to load. You have the networking, the hosting, and all those. Yeah, so this is the URL of the site that is given for us by default. So if I click on it, it will open in a new tab. Loading, okay. Message is loading, so you have that resource group, you're having the status it's running, the location is that's the location, the subscription type, we also have that. Health check, I've not configured one, the operating system is Linux, the name is that, the runtime task is that one. So like you can actually check everything. The deployment center, we've not set any deployment, but that's what we're going to do next. Hosting plan, we also have those one, the networking, virtual IP addresses, outbound IP addresses, and additional inbound IP addresses. You can check them over there. So on the left hand side, so here you can add more customization to your app. So for example, if you want to add a custom domain, so you don't want to use this one that you've been given. So there's this one, the jeff.azurewebsites.net, and now this is the default app that is running. We've not deployed our own, so this is what is currently running, and you don't want it to have this jeff.azure websites. So you can actually do that by going to custom domains and customizing the domain that you want to appear on that particular site. So you are given an IP address and a custom domain verification ID. So you can just for the free plan, I don't think it will allow us to add a custom domain. So I think that only works for the basic plans and the pro plans. Yeah. So for the free plan, you'll just use it the way it is. So the certificates, you can add certificates and networking, and you can upscale. So scaling up is like upgrading the power or the plan that you are using from the free plan. to maybe a production kind of server that is having more CPUs and more processing power. And yeah, so you also have all those there. SSH, you use this to log into that particular operating system that or that particular virtual machine that is created. So if I click on this SSH, so it will log me, it will take me to a console of it will be a web console of that particular virtual machine that was created for my app. So let's see. Yeah, so I'm now in the machine that was created for me. So this is the machine. So you can log in and do all those other stuff. So this is an app service on Linux and documentations and so that's the machine that was created for us that will be carrying our code and it will be executing and handling all the requests from the user. You can also manage APIs. You can also monitor your application. You can automate tasks and do troubleshooting as well. You can service connector this you use this to connect to other apps. So for example, you did this app and by default it will be storing its data in the SQLite database. And let's say you don't want to use a SQLite database, you want to use a Postgres or a SQL database. So you can create that database, then use this service connector to connect this app to that other database. So you can actually create another database, then just link it to this app through this service connector without writing any code. So when you just connect it, it will be doing for you everything. So there's no much to be done. So backups, just creating a backup of the application. Authentication, yeah, you just control the authentication models, events and tags and activity and access controls. Yeah. So let's go to deployment. So let me enlarge. So we have this deployment center. I believe everyone can see it. So click on that deployment center. So once you've clicked on the deployment center, you will be asked for the source of the code that you'll be deploying or the one that you want to push to this repository, the one you want this app to be like executing or something like that. Let me close. I don't like many tabs, so I just close this one. So I just remain with the few. So you come and select if the code you want the CDCI, yeah. So if the code will be pushed from GitHub, from a Bit bucket, from a local Git, from other repository, or from an external Git. So in this case, we are going to fetch our code from GitHub. So I'll select the GitHub, and so my account was already linked to this. So if you want to change, you can just click on this one to change to another account. So I'll go to the organization. So I'll select the organization. By in my case, I'm having two. So this the Vestec Limited and this the Jeff. So this is because I'm having two organizations within the same account. But in your case, you'll only be seeing one drop down list with your username, your GitHub username. So I'll select that because that's where we are having the app. Then next is you select a repository. So come here and select the repository that you want to deploy. So I had called it MLSA dynamic, yeah, this one. So it's MLSA dynamic. Then select branch. So branch will be going with the main branch. There's just one branch. And now this option will tell you you want to add a workflow or you want to use available workflow. So in this case, I'm going to create a new workflow. So we will see what a workflow will be doing. So the workflow will be called main_jeff.yum or yum file, yeah, something like that. So we do a save. So when it saves, it will create that workflow or this, yeah, that workflow will be created in my GitHub repository. So I'll go to my GitHub and show you. So the setup deployment is a success. Yeah, and it is now linked to my GitHub account. So if I go to GitHub now and I look for that repository, I believe my screen is sharing is good. So this the one that we've just linked to our Azure. So if I open it, I should be seeing something happening. So Yeah, so we are having this orange dot. So meaning the workflow has been added. So it was added just now. It's reading now. So there's a workflow that has been added that is currently executing. So you can actually come and view the details. So just come to this. So it's downloading artifacts from build job. So it's done with the setup. So it's now doing the downloading. So you can actually see the actual the workflow and progress at it's doing those tasks. So okay, running the web apps deployment. In the build, you can also see what happened in the build. So in the build, it set up a job, ran the Python version, that it created a virtual environment, installed the dependency, created the requirements, then uploaded that one to the machine. So once the upload was done, then the other deployment started now. So it built. So this just follow the step. It's like follow the file that is created have those steps that I outlined in the document. So you write the commands and the steps that you want this particular action to be taking every time, and a code is uploaded to GitHub. So you want it to set up a Python, create a virtual environment, then activate that virtual environment, then install dependencies. That once it's done, then it upload that deployment jobs, then it completes the job, then begin the deployment. So right now it's doing the deployment. So it is done with the downloading. So it's now doing the deployment on the other web app. Any question that's still deploying? A question? So the deployment may take a few, it should take like 2 to 3 or 4 minutes, depending on the size of the app that you are, the size of the project that you are uploading. So at times it might take even a longer time if the project is very large and complex and having many dependencies. So it might take some maybe a longer time. And also depending on the virtual machine that you've taken. So if the virtual machine is having a lower power, then it probably will take a longer time to process all these things. But if it is one with a higher power, then it will be doing these things very fast. So this is the first way of deploying, a very easy way. Just creating an app service, then linking it to a repository or a source, then just everything is done. So you just sit and relax as everything is done for you by the code. So as that one is happening, I'll do another illustration on how you can deploy, then we'll check it later when it's done doing that. Another
Okay,
option is
question.
to, yeah,
Okay, for those who are unable to deploy using Azure,
yeah,
like for my case,
yeah.
so we will have to deploy first
The previous one or this one?
the previous one.
No, 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 no. This one is independent of the previous one. Like this is a totally independent app that we are doing. So doesn't require, it doesn't rely on the previous app. So it's a totally independent. So we'll just go direct to this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank-
Okay. So the another option is to create a virtual machine. So you create a virtual machine. A virtual machine is just like a PC somewhere you are using, you are renting someone's laptop somewhere in the cloud or something like that. So you can create a virtual machine. So I have some virtual machines. So you can come here to the search bar and look for virtual machines. And you'll be having these virtual machines here. So I already have two. So I'll use this main. I'll deploy that same app on this main virtual machine. Okay, so yeah, so that's my IP address. So I'll log into this machine. Okay, let me just use the terminal to do that. So to log in, just go to your terminal. So once you have the public IP address, just do SSH. Then if you set it up to be using password, then you do what I'm doing. And if it will be using a public and a private keys, then they will be similar. You'll just be adding -I, then provide the path to the file. Yeah, then you do the username at the host or at the domain name to log in. But if you're using a password, then you don't provide this -I. So just do SSH, then the name, the username you are having. So I don't know if that's the username. So I'm using this one because this domain name is linked to that public IP address. So I can type the public IP address or I can use the domain name. Both will point to the same server or the same VM, the same virtual machine. So I can choose to either use the public IP address or use the domain. Then I'll still be able to access the same thing. So once I enter that, I'll be asked for the password. So I'll provide the password. And so once I provide the password, then I'll be logged in to the server. Okay, so this it's a Linux. So yeah, I'm now in the server. So I'll clone that our app. So I'm going to remove this one. I'm going to remove the one that I'm having in there. And so I've removed that project. So I want to copy um this project. Yeah, so the deployment is done. So it built and deployed our project. So if I come back to this app service, this jeff.azurewebsites.net, if I refresh it now, I should be seeing there, okay, but it's still just not reached this site. So we'll refresh it then later and also check if will be appearing on our site. But deployment is done. So maybe now the app itself that is now doing its part. But this one on this side, when you see this green tick, then you know everything is okay. In some situation, it may fail. So if it fails, you can just go and check. It will give you a report on why it failed or where did it fail. Yeah, so you'll be able to inspect or to debug what the problem. Yeah. So let's go back. So I'll be going to the GitHub. I want to clone this app and use it on the virtual machine that we created. So I'll copy the URL, then I come back to our server, then I do git clone, then I paste in the URL, then I enter. So this will download all the projects and it's done downloading. So once the project is done, then I'll go into that project. Now, once I'm in the project, then I'll create a virtual machine. The same thing as if you are doing it in your local machine. So I'll just run virtual and then the name of the environment, I'll call it that. So this will create for us a virtual environment, then we'll activate the environment. In Linux, we use source, then env, then bin, then activate. But for Windows, it is env, script, then activate. Then our environment is activated. Yeah. So once the environment is activated, you install all the requirements or dependencies. Yeah. So to do that, just run pip install. The requirements, I added them in the requirements.txt file. So if you come here, you'll see this requirement.txt file. So if you open it, you will find a list of what is required for that particular project, whereby we have Django, Pillow, this one, and white noise, and that. So those are the requirements for our project. And there's a documentation. So the documentation is this readme file. So how you can set it, you clone it, you move there, create a virtual machine, activate, then. So this documentation and these are also sample images of the project when it is running. So we have a documentation that you can follow along to when you are having challenges. So we've created a virtual environment, we've activated it. Now we want to install the requirements. Just do pip install, then provide -r, then provide the file name. If you enter, this will install for you all the requirements for that particular project. So the requirement is done. So we can do a test by just running it. Yeah, the app is running, so it's okay now. But no one will be able to access it through a browser since so what I'm going to do is to allow some port that we're going to run this app through that port, and we'll test it on the browser. So go back to your app, so this VM. So in the VM, there's a section called networking. So in the networking, and this more of networking thing, but you need to know it as a developer. So when you'll be doing website or web application, you need to have some knowledge on the networking. So we are going to do some network rules. Yeah, so we are going to add some inbound port rule. So this one will, you are listing through which port is this virtual machine allowed to communicate. So in this case, you can see it can communicate through port 22. That's the one that's enabling SSH to connect to our virtual machine, port 8443. So I'll be adding another port 8000 so that we run our app through that port 8000, then we be able to connect to it through a browser. So just come to add inbound security rule, then just give it port 8000. You can change the name of the rule, so maybe I can give it allow Django port, or maybe Django 8000 inbound rule. Then just click on add. So once you add that, it will update the security rules of that particular VM. Yeah, so it is added. Then you also do this through the FUW of the server. So do sudo UFW allow, then the port number. So allow 8000. So you want this server or virtual machine of yours to be able to communicate to other services through this port 8000, and you'll see it updating, or it will skip this below because it was already defined, so it's okay. So up to this point, our virtual machine can communicate through port 8000. So I'm going to run our server again, and this time we are going to notice something different. So run server, then we're going to give it, we want it to run to be accessible publicly. So I'm going to run it at port 000, then not port but IP 0008000. So this one will it will be like it is multicasting. I don't know whether to call it multicasting, such that maybe someone, if we now type the public IP address of this, you'll be able to access the same service. So our app is running at this public IP address, then that port number. So if I come to my VM, then I copy the public IP address of the VM, then this way, yeah. So this is the public IP address. I paste it on the browser, then I provide port 8000. So running at port 8000. If I enter, oh, so we are having a bad request. So why are we having bad request? That is because we've not allowed this port to Django app. So in Django app, I really hope that it's not too much, right? So we want to allow this IP address so that traffic can be handled through that. Like it's just a security feature that we are adding to Django. So we had not allowed it, so that's why we are having that forbidden request. So just do sudo nano, since here we don't have any editor like VS Code, so we are working on the terminal. So we are going to use an editor called nano. So we are going to move to the main project, which is the project name was I don't know the name of the project name. Let me check. Our portfolio, yeah. So sudo nano portfolio, then settings.py. So we'll move to this file, then navigate to the allowed host. So you see we have only allowed 192.168.43.221. This was the one that was testing the other side when we were connecting to another network. Then we have allowed 127.0.0.1, and we allowed as Jeff azurewebsites.net, and we've not allowed Jeff. So this one will also throw an error on the other app since Jeff.azurewebsite is not allowed. So for example, I think by now it should be okay. If I refresh this one now, you see, we're having bad request because Jeff is not allowed to access that particular app. So we also have to add this jeff.azure.websites.net and also add the public IP address of this one so that they be able to access or serve request to that particular app. So I'll do that one so that I update both of them at the same time. So let me just go to that app, and here it is. So I'll go to the settings, then I'll go to this one, and I'm going to add copy that, then I'm going to add now Jeff.Azure websites. Now the nice thing about this this web app service, when you are doing an update, you don't have to go to the server to manually maybe do a pull or something like that. Once it detects a change, then it reruns all those steps again to push the new change to the server, and then the server will do the rest. So let me just commit added Jeff, maybe Jeff domain or something like that. Then I commit. So once this change gets to GitHub, so once it gets to GitHub, then the same process will start again. So you'll see it now, it's now building. So we'll be doing the same process over and over again. So once it detects a change, it takes the code, pulls it to the app service. So you can see it's now installing dependency done, then it's uploading the work. Once it's done, it's begin the deployment process. So you don't have to be doing this one yourself. For this one is done for you automatically. So there's a workflow that has been created for you. So once that is updated, so you'll see this app will now be able to run. So let's update ours that we were doing on the server. So the server, I decided to do it alone. So let's move there and paste. No, that one. Post 20.120. Let me check. 21.20.102.239. 102.239. So save, yeah, and so then once it is saved and we enter and we run our project, now that that IP address is allowed now to serve to be, it's like the app is allowed to be accessed through that particular IP address. So if I come back here, I refresh, and the apps will be now working. Yeah, you see, so our app is running in the virtual machines, and if you come here, you can see it's running. So, and someone can actually access it through this public IP address. So just enter the IP address 21.20.102.239, then you'll be able to access that app. So you'll be able to navigate and see all that, go to the Hire Me page, go to the CV page, yeah, and Hire Me. You can even test the form. So you just maybe do anything, test, maybe provide a test data, email, provide an email, yeah, then do a message hello there. Yeah, so if you click on the button, that message is sent to the server, and you can see the message is coming back that your message has been sent successfully. Yeah, so like the app is now running. So there are two ways. The first way is using the app service. Another way is creating a virtual machine, then running that app in the virtual machine. So for the case of virtual machine, you can actually run more than one app. You can run unlimited apps. You can be having all your apps running in the same one virtual machine. The same way you can have a laptop and have many projects running in that laptop at the same time. So that's why you can use the virtual machine. So once, but the interesting thing is that if I close this server, for example, I close this terminal, if someone comes back to this IP address, it will not be accessing anything. Yeah, so there's nothing running there. So how do you solve this? To solve this, you can use servers like the Apache or Nginx. Check on that Y7. Let's go and check if our app was built okay and is now running. The one that we had deployed via the GitHub. Yeah, so the Jeff.Azure website is complete. So the first way is very simple and straightforward. So this one does not involve any manual work. So here you just create an app, then link it to a GitHub repository, then the app will just be okay and running. So anytime you update a code and push that code to repository, the update will be applied here. So that's very straightforward. There were changes that I made to the project before deployment. So if you checked on this project, let me go to the project to show you what was changed. Realize that in the project portfolio, in the settings.py, we added something that was not there. So we added the allowed host, we turned the debug to false. So when debug is turned to false, then it does not provide those additional information that you usually see when your code run into an error. So for example, if we have deployed jeff.azure.websites.net, like that one. So for example, you're at this particular point and someone decided to provide some IP, a path that do not exist. If you enter that, the app will tell you that that part is not found. Instead of throwing some errors like providing all those information, telling you that this part is not available, these are the only available parts in the system and stuff like that. So it's usually safe to turn it off. That will help you like secure the site such that it cannot be targeted by the hackers or those people who may be interested in attacking the system. Yeah, so they will not be able to see the URL structure of your system, say when the debug is off. Yeah, so that's one thing, the importance of returning. The first, you have to turn debug mode to false, then add that particular IP address or the the URL to the allowed host. Yeah, to allowed host. So then another one is the installed apps. In the installed apps, this one was not existing. So we had added white noise, something called white noise. So the reason as to why we added this, it's the one that will be serving our static files when we are deploying this on an app service, on an Azure app service. So I would like you guys to try deploy it without the white noise, so you see how the app will be looking on live on the app service. Then now you configure the white noise. So white noise is just like the server, like the Django server that was serving the static files, but in this time we are serving it using the white noise. So it's the one that do work when you deploy using this other websites. So then we also, when configuring the white noise, you add it to the installed apps. That one is after installing it to the virtual environment through running pip install white noise. So you add it to the installed apps. Then you again come and add a middleware. So add it to a middleware like that. Then the last configuration you do is you move to the section whereby you are having the static root, then add static file storage and do white noise.storage.compress static file storage. So yeah, so these are the configuration that we made and added a section called CSRF trusted origins. So this CSRF trusted origins is like you are adding the URLs that are allowed to make post and update to the database, or the one that can allow you to submit through a form. So if I did not add this path, so for example, if I did not add this to that CSRF token or CSRF trusted origin, and someone tried to use this form, for example, someone tried to use this form when it is not added to the CSRF trusted origin, then this will be it will usually throw an error and the form will not always go through. So it will be something like considered not to be secure or something like that, or not allowed to make any post update to a server. Up to there, is there any question? Any questions so far? later. So meanwhile, there were groups. So that's why I opened this sheet. So we had 7, I think 8 groups, and each group was to discuss maybe uh, something like a problem that is facing a society, or maybe that is facing people globally, and they were to come up with maybe something like a solution, a tech solution. So today I wanted us to maybe have a quick talk, maybe the group present what they found to be the challenges, since we are only having 2 sessions remaining. That's the only the one for next week. Then the one whereby the group will be presenting their work. So I wanted us today, since I wanted to do a quick deployment, the one from GNX was just by the way, but it was not part of the program. But I'll fix that one later. So I wanted us to present, to take this remaining 27 minutes for the group members. Group 1, do we have Princess Nduka? I don't think so. James Munger. Any group 1 member that is available? So yes, the list. So any person in this list in group 1? Hope. I saw Hope. Hey, Hope. Hey, Sister Hope.
Hi,
How are you doing?
I'm fine.
So tunafuatilia group 1, like what did you guys discuss, or which problem did you find maybe that exists in a society that your group decided maybe they will be tackling?
I joined the group a bit late,
Mhm.
so I'm not quite sure what they had discussed earlier, but I'll inquire.
Any member of your group that is in the meeting?
Mm-hmm. Let me check.
Okay, so as he's checking, so group 1 we are having there are 10. So we have Princess, James Mungara, Dan Ngumo, Faith, Hope, Sabi, Mercy, Wangui, Jonathan, Irene, and Ebenezer. Group 2 we are having Moses. I think I saw Moses. Hey, Moses, are you still there?
I don't think there is any other group 1 member.
Group 2, Moses, are you available? I think I saw you in the meeting. Let me check. Moses. Oh, it's not there. Any person from group 2? Okay. Group 3. It's really funny. Any person from group 3? Okay, let me just quickly ask. We are
Yeah.
having
Hello?
this. Yes,
I'm
you're,
from group 3.
you're from group 3.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Did your group have a discussion?
Anyway, we didn't have a discussion, but I did it on my own. And if the group had to come, then I was supposed to suggest, but I can still present if it's gonna make sense.
Okay. So, like, what did you personally found, maybe the one that you wanted to work on? So, as we will be moving in the
Yes.
next phase.
Okay. The one that I thought about, or the one that I was planning to work on, is that coming from a rural area and now having spent some years in town, I've actually tried to compare. And when it comes to health aspect in the village, you realize that so many people are dying from what we can even call the petty sicknesses. We've got some few nurses around, but who still need some kind of support, maybe from the doctors. So I know somewhere somehow, maybe some people have already started working on them or thinking about it. Why can't we use IT in solving such a problem, whereby we don't need these doctors to move from wherever they are to go to the villages, but from wherever they are, they can still support those few nurses that are around the villages with assistance in case they've got some kind of sicknesses, maybe what we can refer to telemedicine or tele whatever, where they can use applications, right, that can actually give the nurses a chance to contact the doctor so that they can assist them. So, yeah, that was the beginning of my.
Hello. Yeah, I'm getting you. I was asking you a question. Is it possible that you can maybe mobilize the group 3 so that they be active? Maybe you'll be the leader, then you mobilize them.
Yeah, that's fine. I can actually send the message because what happened, I even created a group.
Yes.
And yeah, I mean a WhatsApp group. And I think a day after, that was before last week, we were actually exchanging messages. But then after that, I think some of them disappeared. But I can still try to reactivate and talk to them.
That would be great. So that's a great idea. So I really wanted this session to be a productive one whereby we not only learn. So after learning, we apply what we've learned to maybe do some system that solve a problem within our society. Something like we try to put what we've learned into practice.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That was a nice one. And this Marcus, is it Marcus? You've raised your hand. Is it Magzas or Marcus? Yes.
Hello,
Yes, I can hear you.
Mr. Jeff. Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm really sharing. Thanks so much for what you are sharing to us.
Yeah.
But I have suggestions. Maybe you can extend for duration of this course because some of us it was difficult to catch up or to join your sessions. And we are still facing some challenges, even on following on recordings. For myself now, I'm following on deploying this what we call dynamic web on Django.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I'm not completed yet.
Oh, okay.
So. And I asked you for assistance to join me in any group, so that I can learn with the others and share what I have got stuck somewhere when following this course. But you
still don't have a group?
Yes, I did. I don't have any.
Okay. So the problem is that those are the groups that enter. So maybe I'll start creating one where you'll be the first one. Then I don't know if we'll get other people to join.
Okay.
Yes, but I'll create one for you. Or you can just create, then send me the link. Then if someone else wants a group, then I tell them to join.
Okay.
That
Okay,
will be
thanks, sir.
okay.
Thanks.
Okay, so I wanted to ask this Lual or Lual. Lual, you are in which group? Carilo. Those names are really hard to pronounce. Hello. Is it Carilo or something like that? Hello? Okay, keep it on. The name will kill me. They are really hard to pronounce. Yes, you are in which group?
Group 5.
Has your group done something yet? Any discussion?
The last meeting they had, I didn't join, so maybe the group leader should be able.
Is the group leader in the meeting?
I don't think so, but I'll ask in the group. I'll give you the feedback tomorrow.
How about Christabel? Hello, Christabel.
Hello.
Yeah. Any progress with the group?
Yeah, we had suggestion from the group members,
Yeah.
but we have not yet settled on one topic yet.
So there are a variety of topics.
Sorry?
You mean there are a variety of topics, then you now go, you've not narrowed down to the one that you want to address.
Yes.
How about Raymond? Raymond Onyango.
Yes, what's up?
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. Which group are you in?
Group 5.
Oh, group 5. So were you in the last meeting?
No, sorry, group 6.
Oh, group 6. So is there any progress in group 6?
No, there was some discussion, then we left it like the group leader was to call another meeting because the other one that we didn't finish setting up what we were doing. So maybe you can give us more time, so we will present next week, the next session.
Rovi?
Yes?
Okay, that's okay.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. Rovi?
Yeah, I'm in a group 6.
Oh, you are with Raymond in group 6.
Yeah, I'm in group 6. We'll do the presentation next week.
Okay. How about Joshua?
Yes, I'm in group 4.
Yeah.
Yes, we have come up with we have come up with various challenges now, but we haven't settled on any one of them.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so
Okay, that's I think.
them or
Yeah. You're saying? Okay, so what I had given some assignment for the first session, and this for the various groups. So, for example, for group 1, the assignment for group 1, 2, 3, 5, and 7, 8. I did not receive the assignment. I only received the assignments for group 6, 4. Group 6 and 4 only 2 groups. Okay. So I only received assignment from group 2 and 6. So the assignment for group 1, 2, 3, 5, and 7, 8, I did not receive them. for week 1. Then there was another one on week 2 whereby the assignment for the group and the last session, and that was the day 3, you were to implement that contact page. So you were created a contact page in the first session, for example. Okay, now you are to use that contact page, for example, and give it a backend whereby someone can now submit data. For example, they can type something and that data be sent to the database, right? So if they hit send, so this is what I was saying, that if you don't add the site, so if you don't add this URL to the CSRF trusted origins, then you'll be getting this error. So it will not be pushing that code to, that will not be doing that update. So you'll always be getting the forbidden error. So if you do add it, then it's when you'll be able to do a submit. So let me just run the local one to illustrate. So the local one, just delete these terminals and open a new one. Okay, so our app is running. Okay, so if I go to my admin panel, so I change the route to the admin panel to MLSA. So if I go to the admin panel, you have this contact form. You have been having these two, so I'll delete them. Yes, so I've deleted them. So there's no contact right now. But if someone do go to our contact page or the hire me page, this one, and they click on this and do some, yes. And they provide those
Hello, Jeff.
information. Yes, I'm getting you.
Oh, your
Are you
screen
sharing
is
your
not.
screen?
Your screen is not visible.
And I thought that you guys were seeing. Okay, let me do it again. It's okay now, right?
Yeah, it's okay.
So what I was saying is that the
Yes,
assignment
now
for
it's fine.
so the assignment for the group was that we were created a contact page. That was a static contact page that had just a design. So I wanted you guys to give it some backend. So there was some pricing to be done. So such that if someone comes to your contact page, for example, this person has visited my hire me page. If they click on hire me, this data, they should be able to get that message that your app has been sent successfully. Then if I come to my admin panel, I should be able to see that data on the admin panel. Then at the same time, that same data, the same email, like you see this are like a structure of an email if you are on the IME page. So you are having subject, email, and message, for example. So email do have subject, this the email of the person you are sending the email to, then there is the message, like the body of the email, for example. So I wanted it to behave like if someone hit on contact or hire me or whatever the name of the button they provided, then that data is sent to the database. It appears on the admin panel, and an email with the same information is sent to the user, to the person or the owner of the person you are contacting. So for example, this is I am me. So I have my email. So if someone provides their information here, then I get an email, a notification. So that was the group work that I provided. So for the individual, it's like you are just converting the one you talked earlier to you convert it to a dynamic website. So I think that was clear. And this week, I think this week or early next week, if you participated or maybe if you attended this for the session for day 1, day 2, and day 3, you'll start getting some goodies. So, but it will not be much. So you'll be getting maybe a voucher, LinkedIn voucher, for example, the LinkedIn Pro account or Pro account access, something like that. So if you attended and you are lucky to have chosen, or maybe you are chosen to get that, you should be getting them maybe early next week or this week towards the end. So if you attended session for day 1, day 2, day 3, yeah, any of the sessions, so you should start getting those credits. So those are the things that will be coming into the account. And if you have any question, you can just ask. Okay, so any clarification, I'll do another session on the deployment, whereby I'll specifically focus on the Nginx. So I'll go and figure out why that file was failing. Then I'll do another session for that. Any question? Yes.
I've got one.
Yes.
Mr. Jeff?
Yes, I'm getting you.
Yes. Just a quick one. Thank you so much for the wonderful program that you have put together for us. Maybe number one, I can come up with a suggestion going forward, or before even coming up with a suggestion. When is the program going to end? Or are you having a plan to continue? Or are you having a plan to
Okay, in the initial plan that I had drawn for this program, it was to start at it started on 3rd Feb, so and it was to run all the way to 3rd of March. So that was this series of event on web development, whereby you learned on the basics of Git, VS Code, then develop a static website, move to dynamic website, deploy the dynamic website. Then after deployment, you learn on how to draft CVs and resumes. Then that was to mark the end of the first series. Then after that first series, then I wanted to make it an open if someone is also willing to continue, like to also contribute, like to teach people as well. Then I will give them a room as well to organize events, so as to keep this program live. You understand? But the one that I had scheduled,
Yes.
this one that is running, was to end on 3rd of March, which is next Friday.
Yeah, because the reason why I'm bringing that point is that remember, like myself, I just came across your link on LinkedIn, and I thought initially that no, this must be one of those kind of jokes. So when I attended the first session, then I realized that no, this is serious. So we are the few people attending. I think will be the people can now disseminate the message to other people. I don't know if you can try to organize, or you can do what you have just said, to get maybe someone who can teach, so that we can have many people also coming to benefit from your wonderful program that you have put together.
Okay, yeah, I think I'll be organizing that with other people as well, and also, yeah, I'll be sharing it it goes wide, so we have more people under the community to grow.
Yes, the other thing, when we attended the first week, I think the first session, we got the certificate of attendance.
Yeah.
Did it continue? Because I attended the second, I think the second week and the third week. This must be the fourth.
This the fourth session. So the certificates for the first session, that was, let me open it so I can show you. So the first session was on
that one I got it for the first session.
Yeah, so let me just explain. So we were having this for 5 sessions that I had planned. Okay, let it load so I can also illustrate. Yeah, correct. So there was the first session that was getting started with the S-code. So everyone who participated, like in the groups during the session, got the certificate, right? The first session, right?
Yes.
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 Then there's the second one, which was the building and deploying a static web application.
Yes.
So
the first one I got it, but the second one and the third one,
yeah,
the first I got it.
So there's this one for building and deploying static web application. And I said in the groups that those who will be receiving certificates for building and deploying static web application were to be these people who have completed the assignment. So if you did the assignment, the personal assignment, the group assignment, then you should have received your assignments because I sent them, I think yesterday or maybe it was on Wednesday, I think Wednesday. So everyone who did submit their assignment got their certificates on Wednesday.
On Wednesday, no, I didn't get it.
Okay, if you've not received, let me check out. Because I do use Microsoft, it's like it's scheduled so such that it just fetch data and generate for you the certificates, then send them to you once all the condition is met. So it's just like it's something that's automatic. So those who got the certificates are these people. There are many. So invitations. Okay, so the sample of the certificate that was sent. Okay. Yeah, so for example, you see, for example, this person, they got the certificates. So if you did not get, maybe you can just send me your name and email. So I generate for you yours, then I send it to you again.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'll do that.
Okay. Yeah. Another question, but for day 3, the one for building dynamic web application, I've not generated that because I'll be waiting for the assignment to be done because I'll be using the list of those who completed the assignment only. So I'll be creating assignment for week 3 here, both the group and the group assignment and the individual assignment. So once I've created that, then I'll be using that to fetch the response from the user. So those who will have completed the week 3 assignment, so I said the deadline for submitting is on Monday. I think that is which will be the 5 days on 20th, yeah, on 27th. So 27th of
You mean Monday next week?
February. Yeah, next week. So this Monday 27th is the deadline for submitting the assignment for week 3 or the day 3, that is the building dynamic web application. So if you will be completing the assignment by then and you have deployed it, so you'll be getting the 2 certificates. So one for the last week assignment building a dynamic web app and another one for deploying that web app. So I'll be generating 2 certificates for those who will have submitted their work by Monday next week. And they are the same people will be receiving those vouchers, the vouchers or the vouchers that I have talked on, the LinkedIn Premium and something like that, the one that you are lucky maybe to get. So if you've submitted the assignment and you participate, then you'll be getting the assignment. But if your name is blank, no assignment, no participation, no attending of the meeting, then you also don't get anything at all from the program.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Another question? Raymond.
Okay. I'm talking on my behalf and on behalf of some of us who are not lucky to be in the first session. That's one. And also who are not all of us have the same speed of grasping everything. So I'm just requesting if we can maybe have a brush through session for 1, 2, 3. I don't know if there's anyone who will support.
For all the past events, so like a summary of what we covered for during the past events.
Yes, and also maybe that day you make it an interactive one so that, as they say, leave no one behind, something like that. Just a request from my side.
Yeah, that one I'll consider that one because I think there's another one. Yeah, there's one request that I should extend the program to allow or to give more time so that maybe we learn more or maybe we grasp more on this project. Then we can also go back. But meanwhile, you can also be checking on this one. But I'll schedule another meeting that will be running through. So I'll send an email to everyone who applied for this program. I'll be sending for them an email that will be having that will brush through. But meanwhile, we have a website, so you can just check on Tech, MLSA, If you check on this website, you'll be getting some materials that maybe can help you get started. So you will get that link to the past recordings. You can play them to maybe to catch up, repeat, play. Yeah. You also have the resources. So for example, the day one presentation slides, the document for HTML if you want to learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React, or Django. So all those documents are provided, and there's the recording for the past event. So maybe you can also check on that. But I'll also organize that. I'll organize that and I'll share them link. So I'll notify people that will be having another brush over, or yeah, we'll be having another event to summarize on the past. Is that okay?
Thank you.
Okay. Is another suggestion or another question or question, suggestion, request, or maybe is it compliment or it is called what? Yeah.
Okay, an addition
Okay.
to what is it Raymond had suggested?
Yeah.
The recordings are there on YouTube.
Okay. Yeah, it's have some names, so you can actually go through them and check them. But we can also have another summary session whereby we just take them quickly through everything that we've covered up to this point. So it's still okay. Is it Masas or Marcus? Hello, can you hear me? Masas. I really don't know if it is read as Masters or Marcus.
Maxius.
Maxels. Okay.
Yes, yes,
Uh,
yes.
which group are you in?
I'm the one that I told you that I don't have a group with.
Oh, you're the one that said that you don't have a group. Okay. Okay, I think that's okay for today's session. So I'll have two more. I think I'll add two more for now, or three. I think three more sessions. One for deploying through GNX, because I know some time you will be employed in a company, maybe for example, or maybe if you will be already working in a company that their apps is deployed manually on a server. So there's someone who goes sit on the server and the terminal, typing command, updating the services, and doing all those. Yeah, so in that case, they are not using any kind of workflow or a CDCI. Yeah, so there's nothing like pipeline or something like that. So everything is done manual. So you really have to know how to configure GNX, how to configure Apache, how to do this and that. So I think we will cover that. I'll do a separate session on that, but it still be a kind of lengthy one a bit, because doing a manual configuration of app is can sometimes be tricky or challenging. The file sometimes may fail due to some permission. Maybe this I can say the user does not have the full permission to maybe execute or maybe run some files, so that one can throw an error. The system can throw an error. So there are some challenges that may come with it. So we'll have a session on that. We'll have another session here recap. Then we'll have another session to do what? Whereby I'll be taking the feedback from you people and the presentation from the groups. Then another session, this one that I'm forgetting. I think for the next week, yeah, next week we'll be just be having the one for the deployment. But before that, we'll complete this one for, yeah, this one for deployment first. So we'll complete that one first. So I think that will be okay. So I'll just add three more events that will be now part of the one that is currently running before we give opportunity to other people and start inviting more people to come and train us, people from the industries, experts, and something like that. So I will also be talking to other people that are already working. So they tell us, they give us experience. Yeah, it's also good to have talk. Maybe it is called a technical talk from the industry experts. So I'll also be organizing that one. So we have people from various industries to talk to us about how things are out there, right? I think that will also be helping us. So I think I'll just close the meeting. Thank you people for attending today's session. It was great having you people. So can call it, can say you have a nice day, have a good night. Yeah. So have a blessed time. So thank you all. Unless there's any other issue or concern.
Thank you
Okay,
too.
so have a good night, a good day.
Good night.